So let's talk about a problem in medicine that's so big it costs the industry hundreds of billions of dollars and delays life-saving drugs for years. But what if the solution wasn't some new pill? What if it was a totally new way of understanding disease itself, all powered by AI? So how exactly does this thing work, and what does it mean for the future of medicine? Let's dive in and break it down. First up, a $300 billion promise. We're starting here for a reason. The numbers we're about to look at are, well, pretty staggering. We're not just talking about small improvements here, we are talking about a full-on revolution in how we create medicine. So let's just put this number right out there. $300 billion. That's the estimated size of the market this technology could unlock. And look, this isn't about a single product. It's about enabling an entire ecosystem of precision medicine that's just been waiting for exactly this kind of breakthrough. Okay, so how do you even get to a number like 300 billion? Well, a massive piece of that puzzle is tackling the absolutely astronomical cost of developing new drugs. This AI approach promises to slash those costs by up to 50%. You have to understand, in this industry, a single failed trial can burn through hundreds of millions of dollars. So yeah, this is a total game changer. And this really gets to the human side of the equation, because it's not just about money, right? It's about time. We're talking about potentially shaving up to 5 years off the drug development timeline. 5 years. For patients waiting for a breakthrough, that's 5 more years of life, or just a better quality of life. That is huge. So, the promise is obviously massive. But why is a solution like this so desperately needed right now? Well, that brings us to a huge and often hidden crisis that's sitting at the very heart of medical research. Just look at this number, 80%. That is the failure rate for what are called biomarker studies. Now, biomarkers are those little biological flags in our bodies, like a certain protein level or a gene mutation, that are supposed to tell us, hey, here's the disease. They fail so often because patient groups are just all over the place, and those tiny, important signals get completely lost in all the noise. And the cost of getting it wrong? It's just catastrophic. A single drug getting pulled from the market after its release, often because of some unforeseen side effect in a small group of patients, can cost a company up to $5 billion. That's the kind of financial hit that can cripple even the largest players in the game. And this right here is a huge part of the problem. Researchers always want to combine data from different studies to get more statistical power, but they can't. A staggering 85% of the time, any attempt to combine these studies just fails. Why? Because each study describes patients and diseases in its own slightly different, incompatible way. It's like trying to compare apples, oranges, and, wrenches. The data just doesn't line up. And here it is, the villain of our story. It has a complex name, but it's a simple idea: phenotypic heterogeneous. All it means is that the same disease, say lupus or cancer, can show up in wildly different ways in different people. And all that variation makes it incredibly difficult to find treatments that work for everyone who shares the same disease label. Let's make this totally concrete. On the left, you see a doctor's typical note. It says, patient reports fatigue. It's vague, it's subjective. Now, on the right, the AI translates that into structured, precise, machine-readable data. Symptom, fatigue, severity, 4 out of 10. You see, this isn't just a different format. It is a completely different level of understanding the patient. So how in the world do you solve this data chaos? You build a translator, not for languages, but for biology. Let's dig into how this new kind of universal translator, powered by AI, actually works. The core of this solution is what's called a semantic layer. Just think of it as an incredibly intelligent middleman. It takes in all the messy, inconsistent clinical notes and translates them into a single, standardized, and biologically meaningful language that both doctors and computers can understand perfectly. So how does it do it? Well, first, it integrates everything: clinical notes, lab results, DNA sequences, medical images, into one unified view of the patient. Then, it tracks those patients over time to understand how a disease progresses, not just as a single snapshot. But what's really incredible is that it can find hidden patterns between different diseases, revealing connections we never even knew existed. And it does all of this classification in real time, constantly learning and refining its understanding as new data comes in.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually mean for developing drugs and treating patients? Let's look at the payoff, because this is where the AI's power becomes pretty much undeniable.
This chart says it all, really. By using this AI to select the right patients for a clinical trial, people whose specific version of a disease is a perfect match for the drug being tested, you can improve success rates by 3 to 5 times. That's the difference between a failed drug and a life-saving therapy. And the impact just ripples out everywhere. Clinical trials can cost 40 to 60% less, a massive saving. It can prevent those $100 million plus late-stage failures that can sink a company. It can speed up FDA approval by up to 2 years, getting drugs to patients that much faster. And it can reduce safety-related drug withdrawals by a staggering 80%. Every single one of these is a massive win. And this isn't just some research project. There's a very clear, very aggressive plan to make this the industry standard. This projection shows a path from just validating the tech to leading the entire market within 5 years, aiming for revenues way north of $400 million. That should tell you everything about the confidence behind this technology. So, we've talked about the industry, the science, and the business. But let's bring it back to what this means for all of us. What does this future actually look like? Ultimately, this is about so much more than just better drugs. It's about a fundamental shift in healthcare. We're moving away from treating a broad disease label like cancer and toward treating your specific biological makeup, your specific phenotype. This is the gateway to true precision medicine. Which leaves us with a final question for you to think about. This future is built on data. So, how much of your personal health data would you be willing to share with an AI like this if you knew it could be the key to unlocking the next life-saving discovery? Maybe even for you or someone you love. It's definitely something to consider.